So I would say believe the hype. I mean, I've watched these videos that you did when I first went on your website, and this is the real stuff, right? This is relational business. I keep going back to I got my notes from our first meeting, and a lot of things you said in that meeting resonated with me and stick with me. And one of them is like, Ryan, here's our goal. We want to add new customers at a profitable rate. Like we can do that for you. And man, this month, I mean, here we are just about to finish up March, and it may be bigger than November or December for us, or very close to. Um, and we're scaling profitably. I mean, honestly, look, we all get jaded, right? When these sales guys are pitching us, oh, you're going to start with spending X, and by month 6, you're going to be spending 5X, and you're going to be happy about it. Like, oh, I don't know about that, Jordan. Like, really, that sounds a little pie in the sky, but man, we're doing it. Like, I think, my goal is that our D2C site is our number 2 customer behind Amazon out of thousands of customers, including Target, Barnes and Noble, MoMA, Met, all these big names. And I think we're going to do it. It's been a fantastic partnership for us. It's scaling rapidly. As you joked a few weeks ago, I think on Slack, like, hey, Ryan, I think we're going to make you into a real D2C brand here. Careful.
What's going on, everybody? Watching from home, your phone, your computer, your office, wherever. I want to introduce Ryan from the business called Plus Plus. And Ryan, do you just kind of want to introduce yourself, who you are, what your role is in Plus Plus?
Absolutely. Yeah. So here at Plus Plus, we are a toy company. And we have one shape. So with one simple shape, you can do anything. So our shape looks like two pluses mashed together. We have a large size, small size, and one shape and a world of color. And my role here, I'm CEO of Plus Plus USA, our US operation, and I'm head of product development for Plus Plus Global, which is based in Denmark, where we manufacture all of our products. So we are obviously a consumer products company. We sell to consumers as well to retailers all over the country, everybody from Whole Foods to MoMA, Buc-ee's to Barnes and Noble, Tractor Supply to your local toy store. So we have been a primarily a B2B brand up until I would say about 5 years ago. We turned more attention over to the D2C side.
Cool. I know you guys are in Buc-ee's. Okay. Very
Yeah,
cool.
man.
Next time in the South, I'll check it out.
That's
Um,
right.
okay, so you guys were primarily a B2B business up until about 5 years ago. I know when we had our initial conversation, you were struggling to figure out D2C. So do you kind of want to briefly go over where Plus Plus was before we started working with each other?
Sure. Yeah, I've been in the toy business for over 20 years on all different sides of the business. I was a buyer at Barnes and Noble. I was a sales rep. I had my own toy store. And in our business, even 10 years ago, it was kind of frowned on to sell directly to consumers, which seems kind of crazy to us now, right? But we were sort of shortcutting our retailers or something. So it's always been just sort of a back burner thing for us. And then about 5 years ago, we jumped on Shopify and got a little more serious about it. But even then, we didn't give it much attention. We had never spent any money on marketing or advertising, just kind of let it be a place that was there if somebody wanted it. Basically, if a consumer called us and said, hey, I want to buy this particular product, we didn't want to have to send them to Amazon. So, so that's been kind of just rolling along. And about 2.5, 3 years ago, we started doing a little bit of meta advertising, getting more active in social media as our team grew here. And we started with your typical like freelancer guy sitting in a computer somewhere, spending $1,000 a month to get us some kind of awareness on Facebook and Instagram, which had sort of mixed results. And then think we went to 2 or 3 different sort of freelancer folks. And then we got on board with a big agency um, last about 9 months ago, I guess. And that was our first experience with a big agency that's sort of multidisciplinary that was going to light the world on fire for us. So we thought. But all along, our direct-to-consumer site has been growing consistently out of our thousands of customers. It's always been within our top 10 customers, even as a sort of a neglected stepchild. So we've always wanted to kind of see what the real potential was.
Right. And I saw the quotation fingers come up when you were talking about a real big agency. What
Hmm.
we don't have to go super in depth, but what happened with them? Like, why aren't you working with them now? And then after that, what made you decide to go with us?
Yeah, it was kind of your unfortunately typical story, which is agency talks big game, slick sales guy says all the right things, gets on board. They actually wanted to do, of course, the whole thing for us, Amazon, Pinterest, everything. Thankfully, we only started with Meta and let them do that, let them ruin that. So it went from slick sales guy passed us over to the execution team, and just from the jump, it was terrible. I mean, these guys, they had no idea what they were doing. They didn't understand our brand. It was all based on percentage of ad spend. So we're paying them a retainer plus ad spend. So it just seems this sort of self-fulfilling prophecy of ramped up spending that they're benefiting from. But I think the most frustrating thing was that they just didn't feel like real people who cared about our business and who saw the real potential. And we were just a number to them, it clearly felt like. And along the way, all kinds of technical glitches of trying to get us set up with proper attribution. And it was a mess. I mean, just completely wrecked our rankings and, really set us back right as we were heading into Q3, which was, just kind of the cherry on top.
Oof.
And the really shocking thing was for me as a business owner, this guy who had sold me on the whole thing, who I think is one of the owners of the company, just ghosted me. Like, wouldn't return my calls, wouldn't answer. I was just like, dude, I'd want to know this as a business owner. If a customer was having this bad of an experience, I'd want to know.
Right.
Apparently he didn't. So it just felt like nameless, faceless, um, people that were just farming out things to other people, basically.
Yeah.
And so we've shoveled a lot of money into the fire and saw very little result.
Sure. And I mean, that happens time and time again where you get sold by like you said, the slick salesman, and then here's junior marketing associate X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, that's what makes an agency, not to get too off topic, but that's what makes an agency super hard to scale is because you have to scale quality, you have to scale talent, and it's a lot easier to just pass it to somebody you find on Fiverr, Upwork, LinkedIn, low experience. And that's like, look, the charging on ad spend sounds great because, like, look, we get paid more if we spend more money, but it doesn't work in actual practice because you have to take into account unit economics, ad spend, COGS, OPEX, post everything, what maths, and if you're adding on additional percentage of ad spend, it just makes it harder to be profitable. And like, we don't do that because like from your perspective, you'd say, okay, then the agency's encouraged to spend more money, even though it may not make sense, right? So,
Right.
yeah, it is what it is. It's definitely a model. Maybe it works for some people. I don't know how, but it's definitely a model. Okay, so appreciate it. Appreciate you going over that. Being a little raw there. So, next question yeah, yeah. So next question I have for you is you've been working with the guys for what, few months now, coming on 4 or 5 months, no? Something like
Yep.
that.
Yep. Yep.
You want to describe the experience of just like what it's been like? How do you like the guys? Just tell a little bit about, what it's like to work with us and the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's felt the opposite of what I just described. So it's felt very personal. We felt very heard and understood. And the responsiveness has been amazing. We did not experience that at all with the agency. It was very slow to respond to everything. So yeah, I think quick communication, quick pivoting, quick execution. I mean, look, you guys started for us at a very difficult time. And I think I said to you at the time, like, ugh, should we start right now? I think it was the first week of December. Like, this is going to be pretty crazy here, but you guys were fearless. You jumped right in and into our being in the toy business, one of our busiest months of the year, I guess, probably for most of us. But yeah, it's been, we were working on Meta and Google, and both sides were super helpful. I mean, Costas, for Anthony, everybody's been just great to work with. And we're working with multiple people on our team. We have a creative team, we have an e-com team. So they're not just dealing with me, they're dealing with all kinds of people. And so it's really, shows their flexibility, their agility to do that. And then I mean, look, I keep going back to, I've got my notes from our first meeting, and a lot of things you said in that meeting resonated with me and stick with me. And one of them is like, Ryan, here's our goal. We want to add new customers at a profitable rate. Like, we can do that for you. And I think in our world, like, it's hard to get out of the scarcity mindset of like, oh, well, if I acquire these new customers, I'm sort of, and get back to my bad mentality, but I'm stealing business from my retailers somehow, which is crazy because Plus Plus, we're a tiny brand. If US has 350 million people, probably 348 million have never heard of us, right? So there's plenty of sales in the sea for all of us. And so now we're watching it scale. And we started off at a pretty, conservative spend. Your guys didn't complain about it. It was a pretty low initial spend, but just kind of grew into it. And man, this month, I mean, here we are, just about to finish up March, and it may be bigger than November or December for us, or very close to. Um, and we're scaling profitably, and we're trying things, and we're iterating and seeing what works. But yeah, it's responsive, it's agile, and it's personal. So
Yeah, and I mean, thank you for the kind words, Ryan, but give you guys some credit as well. I mean, it's easy to say you're a small business, but at the same time, like you just brought up, like the creative division, the e-com division, like you obviously have the wholesaling side of the business as well, right? And so you have all these divisions, and something that's been a bottleneck for us in the past. And I'm not saying you're this gargantuan business, but you guys are doing well. You guys are doing numbers, right? And so speed of implementation has been such a ginormous bottleneck where we need to get X creative approved by Y person from Z department, and then Z department talks to Y person, then comes back to us with, yes, that's fine, but we need this. And then, the 8X ROAS drops to 5, then to 3, then to 2. And by the time we get the creative, it's too late. And so just give yourself some credit as well. You guys are definitely, like, for the size you guys are, you definitely are fast movers, which is nothing but helpful for us. So it's a good partnership we got. So,
absolutely.
last question I got for you. To those watching at home, and here it comes. To those watching at home, what would you say to somebody who's considering using our services, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll say first of all, I mean, I met you through a mutual friend who's also a client of yours. Shout out to Ian over at Maritime Supply Company, amazing products. And Ian and I we're local friends. We're both in e-com, but he's miles ahead of me in terms of his e-commerce journey. Again, on that direct to consumer journey. And he just said, "Look, Ryan, these are good guys. They know what they're doing. They're not going to do you dirty, and you should give them a shot." And it's been all that and more. And I mean, honestly, look, we all get jaded, right? When these sales guys are pitching us, oh, you're going to start with spending X, and by month 6, you're going to be spending 5X, and you're going to be happy about it. Like, oh, I don't know about that, Jordan. Like, really, that sounds a little pie in the sky, but man, we're doing it. Like, I think, my goal is that our D2C site is our number 2 customer behind Amazon out of thousands of customers, including Target, Barnes& and Noble, MoMA, Met, all these big names. And I think we're going to do it. If not this year, definitely next year, but I think this year probably. And so I would just say, if Jordan and his team believe in your product, because I think it's got to be a win-win, right? It's got to
Yeah.
be something you just believe in and you see the potential in. If Jordan and his team believe in your product, you should believe in them, because it's been a fantastic partnership for us. It's scaling rapidly, as you joked a few weeks ago, I think on Slack, like, "Hey Ryan, I think we're going to make you into a real D2C brand here. Careful." So yeah, so I would say, believe the hype. I mean, I've watched these videos that you did when I first went on your website, and this is the real stuff, right? This is relational business, which is the business we're all in, right? People buy from people work with people, and that's what it comes down to. And if we can do good business with good people that we resonate with and trust, that's a huge win for everybody.
Amen. Well, Ryan, I appreciate you, brother. Have a great rest of your day. I know you're back from vacation and it's your fourth day back, so I'm guessing you have a million things and some to catch up on. So I'll let you get out of here, but Ryan, appreciate the conversation, and I'll see you in Slack.
All right. Thanks, Jordan.
Of course.